Hello and welcome back to 64 Squares Official. Today we are revisiting one of the finest attacking masterpieces ever played by Judit Polgar, the strongest female chess player in history, against none other than the former world champion Viswanathan Anand. The game was played in round 1 of the prestigious Dos Hermanas Super Tournament in Spain in 1999. During this period, Anand was one of the world's elite grandmaster with an ELO rating of 2781, while Judith was ranked among the absolute world's best at 2677. Dos Hermanas was famous for attracting the strongest players on the planet, and this encounter immediately became one of the tournament's biggest talking points. Facing Anand's Sicilian Defense, Judith unleashed an incredibly aggressive kingside attack, sacrificed material without hesitation, and demonstrated why she was regarded as one of the greatest attacking players in chess history. So now let's dive into this brilliant battle move by move. E4 and C5. Anand chooses his trademark Sicilian defense, aiming for active counterplay instead of symmetry. Judith immediately signals she's ready for a sharp fight. Now knight to f3 and d6. Both players enter one of the main Sicilian systems. Black prepares knight to f6 while keeping flexibility. Now d4 and c takes d4. The open Sicilian appears. Both players willingly enter theoretical territory. Now knight takes d4 and knight to f6. Development continues naturally. Black immediately attacks e4. Now knight to c3 and a6. The Najdorf variation, perhaps the most famous opening in modern chess. The move prevents knight to d5 and prepares queenside expansion. Now bishop to e3 and e6. The Scheveningen structure is established. Black prepares bishop to e7 and kingside castling. Now g4. Here comes Judith. This aggressive pawn storm is known as the English attack. Instead of quiet development, white intends to launch everything at black's king. Now e5, attacking the knight. Anand immediately strikes in the center. Rather than waiting for the attack, he gains space and drives away the knight. Excellent practical decision. Now knight to f5. The knight finds an aggressive square. It eyes a d6 and h6. While supporting the kingside assault. Now g6, attacking the knight. A logical move. Black challenges the advanced knight. Now g5, counter-attacking. Typical Judith. Instead of retreating, she pushes even further. The attack begins. Now g takes f5. Anand accepts the challenge. The knight survives, but black wins the pawn. Now e takes f5. White opens the e file. More importantly, the bishop and rook will soon become dangerous. Now d5, excellent central counterplay, exactly how black should respond against flank attacks. Now queen to f3, pressure increases against a d5. The queen now joins the attack. Now d4, a very strong move. Anand pushes the bishop away while opening lines. Now Judith goes for queenside castling, long castling. Now both kings are on opposite wings. That means the race officially begins. Now knight b to d7, black calmly develops, everything still looks comfortable. Now bishop to d2 and d takes c3. Black wins a piece of the center. Materially things are balanced. Now bishop takes c3. The bishop becomes wonderfully active. White now has excellent diagonals. Now bishop to g7. A natural development. Black prepares castling. Now rook to g1. An important move. The rook immediately eyes a g7. Judith wastes absolutely no time. Now kingside castling. Anand castles into what soon becomes a dangerous position. Now g takes f6, attacking the bishop. Excellent tactical shot. White opens more lines around the king. Now queen takes f6. This is a force move. Black eliminates the dangerous pawn. Now queen to e3. The queen centralizes, preparing pressure along the king side. Now king to h8. A useful king move, stepping away from future checks. Now f4. The attack continues. White now threatens f takes e5. Every move gains space. Now queen to b6. Black offering exchange of queens. Counter attack against b2. Anand seeks queenside activity. Judith is not willing to trade the queens. Now Judith plays a queen to g3, putting pressure on the g7 square. Another attacking move. The queen targets g7 directly. Every white piece now points toward the king. Now queen to h6 comes in support of the g7 square. Excellent defense. The queen helps protect the king side. Now rook to d6, a brilliant rook lift, one of the highlights of the game. Black cannot take the rook on d6, then queen takes g7 is checkmate. The rook invades the 6th rank and completely dominates black's position. This is classic Judit Polgar attacking chess. Now f6, this is the force move. Black tries to drive away attackers. Now bishop to d2. The idea here is to play f takes e5 and attack the queen, developing while keeping pressure. Everything coordinates beautifully. Now e4. Anand seeks counterplay. He tries to close lines before white crashes through. Now bishop to c4. Excellent bishop placement. Now both bishops dominate the board. Now b5, attacking the bishop on c4. Queenside expansion. Black hopes to distract white. Now bishop to e6, putting pressure on the d7 square. A beautiful move. The bishop occupies an incredible outpost. Black's pieces become tied down. Now rook to a7 comes in support of the d7 knight, defending the 7th rank. Passive move, but it is necessary. Now rook to c6, another powerful rook maneuver. The rook infiltrates deeper into enemy territory. Now a5, trying for queenside counterplay, but white's attack is much faster. Now bishop to e3, attacking the rook on a7, improving every piece. White refuses to rush. Now rook to b7, defending b file weaknesses. Now bishop to d5, targeting the rook on b7, another improvement. The bishop dominates both diagonals. Now rook to b8, black continues defending. Now rook to c7, an outstanding invasion. The rook reaches the 7th rank. This dramatically increases pressure. Now b4, black finally pushes, but it's already too slow. Now b3, a calm defense. White simply neutralizes the counterplay. Now rook to b5, attacking the bishop on d5. Now bishop to c6, counter-attacking. The bishop retreats while maintaining pressure. Everything remains coordinated. Now rook takes f5, black grabs a pawn, but the attack never disappears. Now rook takes c8, excellent tactical exchange. White removes a key defender. Now rook takes a c8. This is a forced recapture. Now bishop takes d7, attacking both the rook on c8 and f5. Another precise tactical blow. The bishop wins an important piece. White's attack transforms into a winning endgame. Now rook c to c5, attempting activity. Now bishop takes f5, another exchange. White keeps simplifying into a favorable position and a rook takes f5. Black recaptures. Now rook to d1, the final improvement. Every white piece is perfectly coordinated. Black's king remains vulnerable. Now king to g8, the king steps aside, but the position is strategically lost. Now queen to g2, attacking the pawn on e4, a quiet yet a devastating move. The queen centralizes while maintaining pressure, and it was at this point Anand recognized that further resistance was futile. So in this position Anand resigned. Now let's take a look at the game summary. This game perfectly illustrates several timeless attacking principles. Attack before your opponent finishes organizing. When castling occurs on opposite wings, speed is everything. Piece activity is often more valuable than material. Rook lifts can completely transform an attack. Judit never allowed Anand enough time for meaningful counterplay. Moves like rook to d6, rook to c6 and rook to c7 showcased extraordinary coordination, while Anand's queenside pawn advances simply came one more too late. Rather than relying on speculative sacrifices, Judit gradually increased the pressure until black's position collapsed under the weight of perfectly coordinated pieces. This remains one of Judit Polgar's finest victories over a world-class opponent and a wonderful lesson in dynamic attacking chess. So, if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of Judit Polgar's greatest attacking masterpieces against Viswanathan Anand, don't forget to like the video, share it with your fellow chess enthusiasts, and subscribe to 64 Squares Official for more classic game analysis, modern grandmaster battles, opening ideas, and tactical masterpieces. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.